A very good morning to all of you. Can someone tell me whether my voice is clear and is this screen clearly visible to all of you? आवाज आ रही है सबको? ठीक है, चलो. Let's start with our today's session, and we will be doing current affairs for 29th and 30th January 23. Okay, we'll follow the same module. We'll focus first on ESI and finance news, then we'll see some of the phase 1 specific news. Okay, so the first news is the share of Indians using biomass for cooking is around 41% right now. Okay, so nearly about 41% of people in India utilizes biomass for cooking purposes. And when you see this news in particular, so you will be thinking about where do we utilize this type of news, or where the news importance is all about. So you have the sustainable development, as a topic, and environmental issues, which is anyways an important topic throughout that the government is focusing upon. Okay, and this utilizing biomass for cooking is one of the most important pollutant for indoor pollution. So until or unless we remove the source, the major pollutant of indoor pollution, we will not be able to rectify the issue of pollution or rectify the issue of greenhouse gas emissions and all those things. Okay, so understanding this data is important, that right now in India we are 41% of people are still utilizing biomass for cooking. So this also connects us with another important government scheme. And can you tell me what government scheme can resolve this issue? Anyone? Which government scheme provides facilities so that people do not use biomass for cooking? Which is PM Ujjwala, okay? Which provides LPG connections. The main aim of PM Ujjwala LPG connections was to reduce the usage of biomass for cooking only. So we have this target in front of us that we need to remove. So just remember and utilize this, and whenever you can, especially in context of questions related to climate change and all those things. Let's move on to the next. Finance Ministry says economy likely to grow 7% in 24-25. That means the next financial year. Okay, so this is the data regarding Finance Ministry. So इस तरीके की data will anyways provide you whenever the exam will be near, because usually the questions can come that this agency has provided outlook for India's GDP growth rate at what percentage. Okay, so such type of questions have been historically been asked in this examination, regulatory or even banking examination also. Okay, so we'll take care of it. Just for now, just remember that Finance Ministry thinks that in financial year 24-25, economy will be growing at 7%. Okay. Let's move on to the next, which is Mahila Samman Savings Certificate Deposits. There's a news with respect to this, and this Mahila Samman Savings Certificate Deposits, this scheme was launched. This scheme was launched in the previous year budget. Okay, where the government came out with a scheme of post office savings deposit scheme, especially for women. Okay, where if every adult woman can open their account in post office savings, especially in this context, the maximum limit was, what was the maximum limit under Samman Savings Certificate? Does anyone know? How much maximum the women can contribute in this? This was previous year budget scheme. The maximum was 2 lakh rupees, and it was specifically for women as well as girl child also. The maturity also was for 2 years. That means after 2 years, the account holders will be repaid their amount of money as well as with the proper interest of more than 7%. Okay? So within that scheme, there is this news which talks about that how much fund collection have the government received, especially in this scheme. So you can see between April to December, the government have received over 14,500 crores, especially only in this scheme. तो आप अंदाजा लगा सकते हो कि 2 लाख रुपए की मैक्सिमम लिमिट थी, उस 2 लाख रुपए के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हाउ मेनी पीपल हैव सबमिटेड देयर फंड्स इनटू दिस सर्टिफिकेट. ठीक है. एंड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, महाराष्ट्र सर्कल लीड्स इन ओपनिंग अकाउंट्स अंडर दिस सेविंग सर्टिफिकेट. ठीक है. एंड देन तमिलनाडु सर्कल. ठीक है. तो ये इंफॉर्मेशन एटलीस्ट you get, see, this is the dynamic information which will keep on changing, but at least you remember that Maharashtra circle leads in context of provision of, providing funds in context of this scheme. Next news, family pension. Okay, with respect to government employees. So previously what used to happen, that the pension of women employees in the government usually went to her spouse. Okay? And only when the spouse became deceased, then the children became eligible and other members of the family became eligible. But right now what the government says, that female employees can nominate her son or daughter for family pension instead of her husband. So the choice for providing the pension that was compulsorily to be given to the spouse has now been expanded. Now female employees can nominate their son or daughter with respect to receiving pension. ठीक है. So this is the major change. पहले choice नहीं था, पहले spouse को ही जाती थी pension. अब choice है, चाहे आप spouse को देना चाहो उनको दे दो या फिर अपने बच्चों को देना चाहो उनको दे दो. ठीक है. This has been the major change. Next is data on external sector by Ministry of Finance. So this is a little bit of data, and since it's a very broad data, so it becomes important. ठीक है. क्योंकि financial year 12 से लेके financial year 23 almost 10-year data has been provided to you. So this can be utilized in various, not only objective but also descriptive, utilize in all those things. क्योंकि आपको anyways external sector के लिए data चाहिए, and who better organization to give you that data except Ministry of Finance. ठीक है. So service sector exports compound annually growth rate has been 7.1% since in the last 10 years. Remittances का growth rate क्या है? 4.5%. Whereas FDI, as you can see, from the last 10 years have been grown 28%, annually in a compounded manner. FDI inflows were 2.5% of the GDP between 14 and 15 and 22 and 23 as against 2.2% during financial year 5 to 14. ठीक है. देखो बहुत सारी, इसको तो आप बिल्कुल यूटिलाइज कर लेना. FDI का जो डेटा है, कंपाउंडेड एनुअल ग्रोथ रेट, बिकॉज यू हैव टू गिव दिस आर्ग्यूमेंट ना इन योर descriptive answers that how investments are increasing in the country, and it has been evident since the last 10 years as per the latest data of Ministry of Finance that FDI grew at 28%. ठीक है. तो इस तरीके से you have to do value addition in your descriptive answers. और anyways broad data है तो objective में भी पूछ सकते हैं, कोई भरोसा नहीं है, because this is anyways a straightforward topic. Next is number of employable students has increased from 33.9% in 2014 to 51.3% in 2024. And this is also the data released by Ministry of Finance, and you should utilize this data especially in education or skill development topics in your ESI section. Okay, so employability has always been the issue, especially in our economy. Employability मतलब जो भी वो skills सीख रहे हैं, क्या वो skills relevant है कि नहीं है मार्केट में. बेसिकली आप मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग में अगर आप केवल बेसिक्स सिखा रहे हो, बट मार्केट में एडवांस्ड रोबोटिक्स की बात चल रही है, 3D मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की बात चल रही है, एंड यू आर नॉट इवन टीचिंग दोज थिंग्स टू द स्टूडेंट्स, then the students will naturally be not that much employable to the industry. Obviously basics तो anyways necessary होते हैं, but the skills उनको दोबारा ट्रेनिंग देने की जरूरत पड़ेगी in the company itself. Okay, so the government says that was previously only 33.9%. 100 लोगों में से केवल 33 लोग थे जो employable थे in the market, but right now the number has increased to 51%. And it is mostly due to schemes like Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme, and even on the self-entrepreneurship also. Because of these schemes, as we've seen in the schemes lectures also, कि हर एक scheme में skill development का एक बहुत बड़ा component था, ठीक है? And we've also seen that ऐसा नहीं कि skill development they're telling, teaching in the, normal basic skills. All of these skills are market relevant skills, and when you teach market relevant skills to the students, so naturally the employability will naturally increase. ठीक है, तो इस तरीके से आप यूटिलाइज करना है इसको. Is this clear to everyone? So just remember the number and percentage. Next is non-urea fertilizers now under pricing control. तो पहले क्या था, केवल यूरिया फर्टिलाइजर वाज अंडर प्राइसिंग कंट्रोल. द गवर्नमेंट एडमिनिस्टर्ड द प्राइसेस कि हाँ इसका प्राइसेस केवल इतना होगा, मैक्सिमम इससे ज्यादा नहीं जा सकता. वेयरएज नॉन यूरिया फर्टिलाइजर्स वर मार्केट डिपेंडेंट. उनको मार्केट पे छोड़ दिया था कि मार्केट के डिमांड एंड सप्लाई फोर्सेस के बेसिस पे नॉन यूरिया फर्टिलाइजर लाइक पोटेशियम एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स उनके प्राइसेस जैसे भी हो सकते हैं हो जाएंगे. बट राइट नाउ द गवर्नमेंट हैज रिवर्स्ड इट्स स्टांस. राइट नाउ द गवर्नमेंट सेज these non-urea fertilizers will also come under pricing control. And what such kind of price control? Has prescribed maximum profit margins allowed for fertilizer companies. ये एक बहुत बड़ा component डाल दिया, because as all of you know that fertilizers are mostly dependent on, ठीक है, external, मतलब fertilizer भी anyways एक commodity है जो the price of which becomes a lot more volatile, especially in context of when there is huge, external events. For example, Russia-Ukraine conflict, supply chain disruptions, उनकी वजह से prices में बहुत volatility आ जाती है. So government for the time being wants to control prices of non-urea fertilizers also, which was not there in the previous case scenario. और इसमें specifically क्या कर रहे हैं? The government aims to prescribe maximum profit margins. That means 8% for importers, 10% for manufacturers and 12% for integrated ones. ठीक है, इससे ज्यादा प्रॉफिट ये तीनों एंटिटी बना नहीं सकते. ओके, नेक्स्ट Crack Grade B will also provide you monthly compilation of general awareness. Okay. Next, about 4,000 farmer producer organizations joined ONDC, Open Network for Digital Commerce, so far, and 6,000 likely by March. ठीक है, FPOs आपको पता है, it's like a collection of farmers. Why any farmer would want to group itself? क्योंकि आपको पता है the most important issue in context of farming, why the farming is not growing that much, only 3 to 4% growth rate is there, क्योंकि fragmented land का बहुत बड़ा problem है. There are a lot of small and marginal farmers that are there in the country, ठीक है, and whatever farming that they are doing, they are only capable of doing subsistence farming. That means जितना उगाते हैं उतना खा लेते हैं, that's it, या basic घर चल जाता है, कोई profit नहीं हो पाता है ना, या फिर आप ज्यादा यील्ड की पॉसिबिलिटी नहीं है. बट व्हाट इफ these lines that were there because of land ownership, this person have this much, this person have this much, अगर ये lines को ही उड़ा दें तो ये बन गया. What if all these farmers joined hands and they collectively grow one single crop? ठीक है, अब वन सिंगल क्रॉप एक पूरे विलेज ने कवर कर ली, ठीक है, एंड दे कैन प्रोड्यूस ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन, और फिर ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन कैन बी सोल्ड टू अ गवर्नमेंट एजेंसी, FCI in case of MSP crop, or even in the market, for example, let's say even for export purposes or for private sector. तो आपको अपने प्रोडक्शन की रेवेन्यू ज्यादा मिलेगा, और इवन सबसे बड़ी बात क्या है, रिस्क कम हो जाएगा. अब बेसिकली अगर आप सोचें कि इतने बड़े प्रोड्यूस के लिए इफ दे वांट स्टोरेज फैसिलिटीज, तो जब ग्रुप करके एक स्टोरेज फैसिलिटी मंगाएंगे तो हर एक पे खर्चा कम पड़ेगा. सो दैट्स द रीजन, है ना. सो दैट्स व्हाई द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ FPOs वर originated, especially in the context of issues prevalent in Indian agriculture. ठीक है, और उनको ONDC पे ज्वाइन करवा देंगे तो naturally it will act as a alternative for ENAM also. ठीक है, ENAM में तो हम लोग बेच ही रहे हैं, but it will also enable them to sell their products on ONDC. देखो, स्मॉल फार्मर्स एग्री बिजनेस कंसोर्टियम के साथ कोलैबोरेशन ONDC हैज डन, एंड व्हाट इज द एजेंसी दैट हैज डेवलप्ड ENAM? कैन एनीबॉडी टेल? What's the agency that has developed ENAM? Yes, correct. SFAC, Small Farmers Agribusiness Consortium. तो आप इस हिसाब से सोच लीजिए कि Small Farmers Agribusiness Consortium is focusing upon how can we, first of all, make the process of agriculture market digitalized, है ना? And then how can we push farmers to join these platforms, whether it is ENAM or whether it is ONDC. पहले ENAM पर ही आ जाए, फिर उसके बाद ONDC में भी आ जाएंगे. So it will act like a diversification of marketplace. अब पहले farmers के पास क्या alternative था? आप एक बात बताओ मुझे, केवल APMC मंडी, and that too in the vicinity where the farmers' land was there. Okay, but now through ENAM they can reach various APMC mandi. ठीक है, all over India's APMC mandi the farmers can reach on account of ENAM. But after ONDC, अब आप बताओ मेरे को, does it increase the customer base or does it increase the buyers? You guys said. ONDC पे कौन कौन मिलेगा आपको? Not only APMCs, but you will also get businesses, private businesses. You will also find on ONDC, and apart from them, you will find, final consumers. You will also find on ONDC. To see how are we empowering farmers in terms of marketing their produce to varied customers. पहले तो प्लेटफॉर्म ही नहीं था, पहले तो इतने मिडलमैन थे बीच में. इस APMC के बाद रिटेलर्स पे जाएगी, फिर कंज्यूमर्स के पास जाएगी. यहाँ पे भी APMC पे तो जा ही रहा है ना, उसके बाद फिर रिटेलर्स के पास जाएगा, फिर कंज्यूमर के पास जाएगा. बट राइट नाउ आप इस वे में लेना चाहो, इस वे में लो, प्राइवेट बिजनेसेस के थ्रू लो, या डायरेक्ट आप कंज्यूमर से उठा लो, कंज्यूमर को प्रोवाइड कीजिए. सो दिस इज व्हाट आई होप यू कैन अप्रिशिएट दैट हाउ मच we are empowering farmers at the policy level. ठीक है? Next is India's steel trade deficit widens to rupees 8,888 crore. Korea top exporter. So basically the news is saying that India's steel net exports, that means exports minus imports, has been negative. So we are having negative balance in terms of trade in context of steel. We are importing steel more compared to exports of steel, and Korea is still the top exporter of steel to India. Okay, so this is the news only. तो आप एटलीस्ट इतना याद रख लीजिए कि स्टील विच इज अ कमोडिटी गुड्स, स्टील के टर्म्स में द इंडिया हैज अ ट्रेड डेफिसिट एंड द साउथ कोरिया इज द टॉप मोस्ट exporter of steel to India. Next is UGC releases draft rules for funding of colleges. उन्होंने कॉलेज को मैंडेट दिया है, every college should have accreditation from National Assessment and Accreditation Council. They all must participate in National Institution and Ranking Framework, and they must fill up 75% of the sanctioned teaching posts. ठीक है? Next is national and state. The Delhi government unveils new solar policy. ठीक है? Where they will spend 570 crores on implementation of scheme. They will provide capital subsidy for installation of solar panels at rupees 2,000 per kilowatt. Another scheme is state funded MSP scheme for forest produce in Odisha. तो state schemes भी आ जाती हैं, usually in phase 1 GA. ठीक है? तो just remember the name, remember the state. The name is लाभ लघु वनाजात्य द्रव्य क्रय योजना. ठीक है? So Labha scheme has been launched by Odisha with respect to providing MSP for minor forest produce. ठीक है? Next is US issued record number of visas to Indians in 2023. बहुत सारे लोग इंडिया जा रहे हैं, US जा रहे हैं. ठीक है? तो you can see an increase of 60% providing visa, increase in visa applications from India to US, and 1.4 million visas already have been issued. Next is, so ICAR Institute named Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute. Okay, they have been provided a fund and they have been provided a approval with respect to research and development in context of lab grown fish meat. ठीक है? तो कुछ डेवलप नहीं किया. They have started this project that if lab grown fish meat is possible or not. Okay, so this institute director is A. Gopalakrishnan and it is located in Kochi, Kerala. Next is Germany seeks intergovernmental deal for submarines with India. तो जर्मनी कह रही है आप फ्रांस से सबमरीन्स ले रहे हो, हमसे क्यों नहीं ले रहे हो? ओके, सो जर्मनी ने कहा है कि इंडिया वालों से हम लोग बात करेंगे कि हमारे साथ कोई डील हो सकती है कि नहीं हो सकती है रिगार्डिंग सबमरीन्स. तो जब डील होगी तब हम लोग बात करेंगे, अभी तो केवल बातें चल रही हैं. लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट. नॉर्थ ईस्ट टू गेट इट्स फर्स्ट नेचुरोपैथी हॉस्पिटल. ओके, एंड इट विल बी एस्टैब्लिश्ड इन दिहिंग खामतिघाट in eastern Assam, Dibrugarh district. ठीक है? तो first naturopathy hospital in northeast located in Dihing, Dibrugarh district of Assam. ठीक है? ऐसे क्वेश्चन पूछ लेता है. Health anyways is an important topic in context of any exam. About 100 crores will be invested in this institute. Next we have National Conference on Strategic Trade Controls Conference. Okay, so this was organized by Ministry of Commerce and Industry. आपको जहां ट्रेड दिख जाए आप समझ जाओ कॉमर्स है, ठीक है। मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कॉमर्स, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स एंड अदर गवर्नमेंट एजेंसीज. व्हाट वाज द फोकस? विल फोकस ऑन स्पेशल केमिकल्स, ऑर्गेनिजम्स, मटेरियल्स, इक्विपमेंट एंड टेक्नोलॉजीज, export control system and its international best practices. तो SCOMET, can you tell me where have you seen SCOMET? हम लोगों ने पढ़ा हुआ है SCOMET. What are these? And where exactly, especially to those students who are there. ये PDF हम लोग ने प्रोवाइड करा रखी है कोर्स में. Yes, correct, Matthew. FTP 2023. And why SCOMET is essential and why it was the most important portion? Because all of these things, special chemicals, organisms, materials, these are dual use commodities or technologies. मतलब इनका अब न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी का अगर आप पावर प्लांट के लिए यूज करो, एक तो वो यूज है, या एटॉमिक बॉम्ब बनाने के लिए यूज करो, वो यूज है. So all these type of different commodities and technologies are, you know, vulnerable to, let's say, you know, exploitation, है ना. कोई भी external state उसको utilize करके कहीं भी impact कर सकता है. So we have to be a little bit crucial with respect to cross-border trade of these type of commodities or technologies. ठीक है, तो उसके लिए हमें देखना पड़ेगा. Yes, correct. Chalo, let's move on to next, which is 75th anniversary of Supreme Court. So this is the Diamond Jubilee year of Supreme Court. It had its first sitting on January 28, 1950. ठीक है. So current Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. Let's move on to the next news. Iran launches 3 satellites into orbit with different purposes. ठीक है, तो आपको याद क्या करके रखना. देखो क्वेश्चंस अगर आएंगे इसके रिलेटेड तो इट विल बी ऑब्जेक्टिव बेस्ड क्वेश्चन एंड दे विल आस्क यू, दे विल गिव यू जस्ट वन ऑफ द नेम एंड दे विल आस्क यू फ्रॉम विच कंट्री दिस सैटेलाइट इज ओरिजिनेटेड. बस इतना सा क्वेश्चन है, तो उस हिसाब से आप लोग प्रिपेयर करके रखो कि द महादा इज डिजाइन टू टेस्ट एडवांस सैटेलाइट सब सिस्टम्स, कहयान 2 एंड हाथेफेर विल टेस्ट स्पेस बेस्ड पोजिशनिंग टेक्नोलॉजी, बट ऑल दीज 3 आर फ्रॉम ईरान. ठीक है, तो उसका याद रखना. नेक्स्ट इज बुर्किना माली नीगर क्विट वेस्ट अफ्रीकन ब्लॉक. इट्स एन इकोनॉमिक ब्लॉक, जैसे इकोनॉमिक ग्रुपिंग होती है, ठीक है, वैसे ही वेस्ट अफ्रीका में एक इकोनॉमिक ग्रुपिंग थी वेयर दीज 3 कंट्रीज हैव क्विट दिस इकोनॉमिक ग्रुपिंग बिकॉज रिसेंटली देयर वाज चेंज इन regime, military regime was there, and all these 3 regimes announced immediate withdrawal from West African bloc. The name was ECOWAS. तो नाम याद रख लेना कि कौन सी कंट्रीज में मिलिट्री वो हुआ है. So this is the West African bloc. ठीक है, बस ये 3 कंट्री का नाम याद रख लेना. That will only be sufficient, and the name of the grouping ECOWAS. These are the MOUs and business agreements. So, WABAG inks MOU with Peak to establish 100 bio-CNG plants in India. ठीक है. Then we have Rolls-Royce signed pact to make defense parts in India. अब Rolls-Royce तो कार बनाती है, defense part कैसे बनाएगी? Rolls-Royce also provides, you know, power and propulsion solution systems. ठीक है. So that's why this has signed agreement with Azad Engineering in India for making complex defense aero engine components. ठीक है, so let's move on to the next. GAIL signs LNG purchase deal with Abu Dhabi Oil Company. ठीक है, it's a long term pact with respect to purchase of liquefied natural gas, almost close to 10 years, starting from 26. IIT Delhi gets rupees 1 crore from Rockefeller Foundation, okay, and to establish a climate sciences and technology chair or department, you can say. Then we have Piramal Enterprises to sell stake in Shriram Investment, okay. THDC opens green hydrogen facility in Rishikesh. तो जितने भी especially the facilities that are relevant with respect to environmental topic, you need to make sure that these are, at least in terms of importance, this becomes much more important compared to such type of business news. ठीक है? Then we have appointments. Anil Kumar Lahoti is the new TRI-head, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. In sports, Mandeep Jangra, okay, he has won the US-based National Boxing Association's Intercontinental Super Featherweight title, okay. So it's a very important feat, please remember. Sonam Maskar finished with silver in women's air rifle after being edged out by Germany's Anna Jensen. ठीक है? So this was Shooting World Cup happening in Cairo, Egypt, whereas Sonam Maskar, she won silver. Okay. Next is Prithvi Shekhar, won singles title and finished as runner-up in doubles in Australian Open Deaf Championship. ठीक है, Sinner wins the Australian Open men's singles. ठीक है, he won against Daniel Medvedev. ठीक है, India finishes second best in the Hockey 5S Women World Cup. ठीक है, which was happening in Muscat, Oman. India lost to Netherlands. ठीक है. So remember the competition, remember the score, remember the team winning, remember the venue. Indian Navy clinches Baton Cup hockey title. Divyansh clinches air rifle gold with a world record to boot. ठीक है. So this Shooting World Cup is happening in Cairo, where we learnt about Divyansh having gold, okay, and Sonam winning silver. ठीक है. So this is the most latest being, especially in context of shooting. Then we have Antonsen and Wang reign in BWF Indonesia Masters. ठीक है. So Denmark's Antonsen and China's Wang Zi won the men's and women's single crowns in Indonesia's Masters. Next is East Bengal crowned the Super Cup Championship. Okay. So they won against Odisha FC. The venue was Bhubaneswar, Odisha. Then we have World Table Tennis Star Contender Goa. ठीक है. इनमें in men Felix Lebron won, and in women single Cheng Ai-ching, she won. So let's move on to the science news. INSET 3DS satellite sent to launch port in Sriharikota. ठीक है. So we have this Satish Dhawan Space Center launch port in Sriharikota, where this INSAT 3DS satellite will be going. INSAT is nothing but Indian National Satellite Systems. नहीं, कल से जल्दी टाइम नहीं है ये, आज PIB की क्लास होगी ना, तो आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग टू फिनिश ऑफ द बैकलॉग. तो मोस्ट प्रोबेबली जैसे कल तो 10:30 बजे होगी, उसके परसों 9:30 बजे होगी. So that within this week we clear the backlog, so that from the next week we do current affairs on time. ठीक है? So these are communication satellites. आपको जहां भी inside दिख जाए, make sure you learn this. Next is 69th Filmfare Awards. ठीक है? They happened in Gujarat. It was 69th edition of Filmfare Awards. So the best actor in leading role, Ranbir. Best actor male in term by critics, Vikrant Massey. Actor in leading role female, Alia Bhatt. Actor female critics, Rani Mukherjee. Director Vidhu Vinod Chopra. Best film 12th Fail. Best film critics, Joram. And Lifetime Achievement Award, David Dhawan. ठीक है? तो याद कर लेना. This is all from my side. If anything you want to ask, please ask. Otherwise, we'll wind up the session. तो इसमें फिर पूरे याद मत करना ना, लेकिन मेन चीज याद कर लेना. एटलीस्ट बेस्ट फिल्म, बेस्ट डायरेक्टर, सब इंपॉर्टेंट है. ठीक है? सवाल आ जाएगा फिर इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाएगा. Sports news are important, especially if you're focusing upon Phase 1 general awareness of RBI, SEBI, NABARD and even all the banking examinations. हर जगह sports news आती है. ठीक है? Even in the budget, the government focused upon sports this year. तो sports तो आप वैसे भी नहीं छोड़ सकते. ठीक है? नहीं, स्काई लिमिट वाला हाल नहीं है. अगर आप थोड़ा इसमें देखो ना कि 6 months से ज्यादा पूछते नहीं है. ठीक है? मैक्सिमम क्वेश्चन विल रिमेन फ्रॉम 2 months प्रायर टू एग्जाम. इसमें लेट्स से 80% आ गए, 20 to 30% क्वेश्चंस पास्ट 6 months से आ जाते हैं. तो लिमिट तो है, तो स्काई लिमिट थोड़े कह सकते हो आप. और लिमिटेड थीम्स पर आते हैं. अब आपको कोई पॉलिटिकल न्यूज तो पढ़ा नहीं रहा, ना सोशल न्यूज पढ़ा रहा है. ठीक है? ना डिजास्टर की न्यूज पढ़ा रहा है. You cannot say sky is the limit. There are limited aspects within which the questions are coming. So don't feel like कि sky is the limit. चलो, thank you guys for joining. We'll meet in the next session and stay here for PIB session that will be there in the 10:30. ठीक है? So thank you.